Okay, the hope again is that you've listened to what we've presented to you in lecture and you've understood and studied what was presented to you. All right. After doing that, I'm going to say that you should start thinking about doing the homework, and you really should do that independent of me. Of course, I'm going to go through that, but again, it's important you do this independently. So the first thing you can do is, certainly I'm going to talk through a little bit about using software first. And I want to go to Sage, and I want to do these problems in Sage. I want to repeat this, though. When you're taking an exam, there is no Sage. Everything is done by hand. And of course, I'll go to the whiteboard and do it by hand. But right now, I just want to go to Sage and remind you that you should be able to do this on your own now. All right. So I've already launched Sage in my terminal. Again, if you're using it on the web, you can. The reason I want to use a terminal is, one, is I like using a terminal, and two, it's transparent. I can look through this and I can actually see the problem below it. All right, so what they want to do is to write the first three terms down of the binomial expansion. So first thing I notice, there's two variables there. I'm going to just reset because I don't know if I have another program here, but that's reset now. I'm going to define two variables, x and y. We've done this many times before, and you should be becoming more comfortable using software. So I got two variables defined, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to expand this. So expand. And what I'm going to expand 2 star x squared. Remember, if you make an error typing, it's not going to blow up, and the machine's not going to freeze. Let's take a look at this, and we're going to raise to the 5th power and hit the return button. Now, I want to read it to you again. It says write the first 3 terms down. So I'm going to claim over here, looking at this over here, these are the first 3 terms over here. Well, let's see if that's what I have written down. Well, I have 32 x to the 10th minus 240 x 8 y. That's good. Plus 720 x 6 y squared. Looking great. Let's do the next one. And I'm going to do the same exact thing, expand. And what am I expanding? A binomial. That's a square root of x minus 1 divided by the square root of x. And let's see, that's going to be raised to the 5th power. Again, I know it's an expansion problem. And what they want me to do is write the 4th term down. All right, not all of them, but the 4th one. So let's take a look at it. The 4th term in, so I'm kind of looking at this over here, and what is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's this term they're talking about right over here. And what is that term? Minus 10 over the square root of x. Exactly what they have written over here. Again, we'll do these problems by hand. All right, let's do this one over here. Again, it's another expansion problem. These are simple problems, ones that you can do by hand. What's that going to be? 2 star x minus 3 star y raised to the 4th power. And it says use the binomial theorem to expand and simplify. Well, let's take a look. And let's see if we've done that. And I'm looking at that, and I'm just looking at term by term. 16x4 minus 96x cubed y. Again, I'm looking at the answer key. I'm looking at what Sage gave me, and looking pretty good. Let's see if we got this term over here. Yep, we got this term over here. Looking great. Let's keep going. Verification problem. Yeah, Sage can do it, but the bottom line is it's probably too much code at this point to go through that. So I'm going to skip 4 for Sage, and I'm going to go to number 5 now. It says the middle term of this expansion over here. And again, we'll do this by hand, but I'm going to expand. Very simple command. X cubed plus 2 star y squared to the 10th power. Now this is going to generate 11 terms. Now in 11 terms, the middle term would be the 6th term in. Right, I'm going to count it in for you now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This term over here. Let me pull this over so you can see it all together. And what does it say it is? It says it's, let's scroll down, make sure we can look at that. 8,064, I'm agreeing with that. X15, I'm agreeing with that. And then Y, there's certainly a caret return over there, a carriage return. So it's Y to the what? 10th. And we're agreeing with that. All right, relatively simple to do. I'm going to switch away because I'm going to point this out again. These are very simple hand problems. We're trying to learn how to use software, but we don't want to use software to do these problems, other than the fact we want to learn how to use software. What I want to do is go back to the whiteboard. All right, so when I go back to the whiteboard, The note should be in front of you, and your work, your handwork should be in front of you. All right, we're just going reviewing what you should have done on your own at this point. And again, the homework is the homework on the binomials. So I'm going to go to a whiteboard, and just give me 1 second to switch to a whiteboard. And I'm going to do the problems one at a time. And again, your work should look very similar to mine. If this was an exam question and you were in a classroom taking an exam, your work would look very similar to mine. And again, I just have to launch my my whiteboard at this point. Again, we know the answers printed in the key are correct now. And what I'm going to do here is just go to clean whiteboard. And I want to, tell you what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the problems, and I kind of remember the problems. And I think, we started with problem number 1. I'll write this down for you. And I got to be careful over here. And this is the homework on the binomial theorem. And number 1, and we're in the binomial theorem homework. I want to point out for most students, they kind of use the triangle, but I'll put it down for you. I don't like the triangle, but it's not bad. The problem with it is that when the numbers get big, it's unrealistic. You're not going to be able to do it. I could probably do up to 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 rows or so. If a mistake in any row is done, that generates more and more mistakes as we move forward, though. All right, let's write this one down. And what is it going to be? It's 2x squared minus 3y to the 5th power. And what they want to do over here is, get the first 3 terms down. So I'm going to write this down. Okay, plus, let's see, 5, 2x squared to the 4th minus 3y to the 1st, plus, let's see, 10, 2x squared. You know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna pull this away. Get my eraser out. Because I noticed I was going to go right into that, right? Let me keep going. So 2x squared cubed, and then minus 3y squared, all right? Now, I certainly know this goes on, but they only want me to write down the first 3 terms. I think it's going to be pretty easy to do. So what do you have there? Well, 2 to the 5th power is 32, x10. The next term is going to be negative. Now we know it's like minus 3 there. 2 to the 4, 16 times 5, that's 80, times 3 is 240. x8, y. Next term is going to be positive. Again, I know this is difficult. That's going to be 9 times 8. I'm going to looking at numbers now, so I'm looking at, minus 3 squared is 9, and 2 cubed is 8. And 9 times 8 is 72. And 72 times 10 is 720. x6, y squared. Of course, this goes on, but I want to repeat to you, they'll only ask for the first 3 terms. Again, you want to go back and look at your key to make sure that your key is actually saying that. 32x10 minus 240 x8y. Oh, looks pretty good. Plus 720 x6y squared. Mistakes happen, by the way. All right, so that's number 1 done. I'm not going to keep writing down the Pascal's triangle for you, but you could if you wanted to. Right? I think I have those numbers down. If I go beyond those numbers, though, I really can't use that triangle. All right, triangles. It's almost like when numbers get really large, this gets really hard to generate. right? We have better ways of doing it, by the way. So I want to go to the next question, which would be number 2. Whoops, let's go back to black ink. I know I do that a lot. And what's that going to be? Root x minus 1 over root x to the 5th power. And what do they want to do? They want to get the 4th term in. So I'm going to write that down. One term here. I'm sorry, the 5th term in. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want to write down every term, right? But how many terms would there be? It'd be 6 terms, wouldn't there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They want this term. All right. So because you know what's coefficient? Again, you could put down that triangle down again if you wanted to. Let me go back to that. And over here, I'm going to point out to you, it's this row here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I'm sorry, it's a 4th term in. I'm sorry. It is 4. I misread. 4th term in. The coefficient is going to be 10. Sorry about that. I misspoke. I don't want that one. I want this one over here. So the coefficient is going to be 10, right? And then you're going to have a root x here to a power and minus 1 over root x to some power. Now let's count the powers in, all right? We'll talk about this guy first. 5, 4, 3, 2. I'll write the power down. Let's do the other guy's power. 0, 1, 2, 3. Let's write that down. Yes, you're expected to do the arithmetic. What do you get over here? 10. Root x squared is going to be x. Now, minus 1 cubed is minus 1. And root x cubed is going to be x root x. All right, I'm going to simplify this. And what would you get? I'm kind of going through stages here, stage by stage. You would get minus 10 over root x. I'll put a box in that. For those students that are disturbed by that, and that goes back to your teachings from Math 100, you would rationalize this by multiplying the top and the bottom by root x. You would get minus 10 root x over x, and that's fine. I actually prefer this answer here, though, and the reason for that is that's even what stage is generating, if you recall back to that, right? Again, look at the key. Make sure the key that you're looking at says the answer, and this is the answer that's in the key over here, minus 10 over root x. All right, let's go to number 3. And number 3 is a total expansion. All right, I'll put that down for you. And what's that going to be? 2x minus 3y to the 4th power. And yeah, coefficients are pretty easy to put down. I'm going to put down, like 1, 2x to the 4, plus 4, 2x cubed. Then it's going to be minus 3y, 1. Let's keep going. Plus 6. I'm going back to the triangle to get those, in my head anyway. 2x squared minus 3y squared. I'm going to run out of room here, so I'll put it over here. Plus, let's see, 4, 2x1 minus 3y 3. Oops, that's a 3. Plus 1 minus 3y to the 4. Let's do it. Let's see, we can get 16x cubed, first term. I'm sorry, I said 16x cubed. I meant it's x4. Let me get my eraser out. Again, it's okay to make errors, but you want to fess up to those and correct them. Of course, we'll look at the answer key later, by the way. Let's do the next one, minus. And let's see. That's going to be 8 times 4 is 32 times minus 3 is minus 96. X cubed y. All right, let's go to the next one. Plus, that's going to be a tough one, isn't it? That's going to be, 2 squared is 4. And, 3 minus 3 squared is 9, 36. Let's see, 6 times 36 is 180 and 36, 216. X squared, y squared. Let's go to the next one. Whoops, push this over a little tiny bit. Whoops, it's not plus, is it? Let me get that eraser out. I'm looking at this guy over here now. All right, so what do you get? That would be a definitely negative number. And it's 8, because 4 times 2 is 8, and minus 3 cubed is, 27. I know it's minus 20, I write the minus sign down. 8 times 27, right? 8 times 27, 8 times 20 is 160. And 8 times 7 is 56, right? 216, isn't it? Let me check that. So I said 8 times 27, 160, 56. Yeah, 216. That's not so bad. My eraser out. Keep going. That's going to be x. And then you're going to get y cubed. We'll check with the answer key later. The last thing I got there is, minus 3 to the 4th power, which can be 81. Y to the 4th power. Put a box in this. Get my little red pen out. Check out my answer key. And I think I did pretty good. I don't really want to check it, though. I make mistakes sometimes. Everyone does, by the way. And I'm just looking at it. Looking great. All right, I've got a number 4 now. All right. All right, number 4, if I look at it, I see an N and I see an R. Okay, and then what do I see? They want me to verify that this is the same thing as N minus R. Okay, I want to discuss something about my penmanship, which you may share. My N and R, to me, almost look the same. I know they're not the same. They really aren't. A lot of people misunderstand that, though. And a lot of times when reading letters, when people print them down, they have a hard time. Now, I'm going to write these a little bit differently. N, I'll write my R down this way. N minus R. All right, I'm going to verify this is true. Now, what does it mean? It means N factorial over R factorial N minus R factorial equals, let's do the right side, N factorial N minus R factorial, and then it's going to be N minus the bottom, which is going to be minus N plus R factorial. All right, let's simplify. N factorial, R factorial, N minus R factorial. I'm just simply copying. N factorial, N minus R factorial. And then we get there, well, N minus N is nothing, and you get an R factorial. Here's the deal. I hope you're looking at these things and you verify the tops are equal and the bottoms are also equal. And why is that? Multiplications are commutative. So I did what I was supposed to do. What do we do now? I'll just write down a QED. We actually show, you're supposed to show QED. All right, that's done. All right, let's go to number 5. Again, don't be discouraged, particularly if you haven't studied. You're looking at this saying, well, I wonder how you do that. You have to study. Right? That's a weak thing for a lot of students. They don't realize that study is what you have to do in order to be able to do these problems efficiently, right? And you study what we present to you in class. I'm going to go to number 5 now. And what's number 5? It's a little tough problem. I don't know Pascal's triangle down, but I guess you could. This is x cubed plus 2y squared to the 10th power. Now, what they want to do is they want to find the middle term, and there'd be 11 terms here. I'm not going to write down 11 terms though. I'm going to go in, the middle term would have to be the sixth term. So the middle term would be the sixth term. All right. So I'm gonna do this not by using Pascal's triangle, but by these binomial coefficients. It's going to be x cubed. We'll talk about its power later. 2y squared. We'll talk about its power later. Now, if I were to count into the sixth term, I want to point out what I mean by that. I'd do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I were counting into six terms, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do the powers. So it's going to be 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Now I know it's a 5 over here. All right, let me do it the other way. I'm going to do this that second term now. And I'm going to count it in. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put that down for you. There are 10 things. And I either take the power, the 5 things of x cubed, or the 5 things of 2y cubed. I'll put this over here as a 5. All right, it's the sixth term in. All right, let's see if I can do the computation. Now, someone says I can't do the computation. You should be able to. It's really not that difficult. So I'm going to keep moving forward. That's 10 factorial over 5 factorial, 5 factorial, x 15. That's not so bad. Now 2 to the 5th is going to be 32, y 10. All right, I got to do some arithmetic over here. And yeah, certainly, again, I'm going to say it's doable. Like kind of grade school almost. So 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 factorial. 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, 5 factorial. And I got 32. X 15, y 10. We'll look at the answer key later. All right, I'm going to do some arithmetic over here, looking around. I'm going to say, I guess 5 factorial cancels, right? 4 times 2 is 8. That cancels. That's not so bad, right? Now 3 goes into 6 2 times, right? And 5 goes into 10 2 times. I know it's tough. Let's take a look at it. All right. Now certainly I got, x 15, y 10. Look at these numbers, and what do you get? I'm not saying it's easy, but just 2 times 9 times 2 times 32. 2 times 2 is 4, right? And 4 times 9 is 36. Write this over here. And then I got 32, right? Let's do the multiplication. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 3 is 9 and 10. Ooh, I forgot the 7. We'll get there later. Don't worry about that. 8 and 7 is what? 15. Right? 8 and 7 is 15, right? All right. By the way, when I did this before, I want to point out what I did. I did 2 times 2, which is 4 times 9, which is 36, and 32. I forgot to do the 7. Let me do that now. I'm going to multiply 1152 times 7. 7 times 2, 14. 7 times 5 is 35, 36. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. So I get 8064. I'm going to look at my answer key, see if I got it right. And 8064, x15, y10. Okay, this kind of closes it out. I want to make sure that you realize that this stuff you need to do on your own. All right, thank you.